Joshua,
Sean Hogue.
what?
Good morning and happy Tuesday.
It is a happy Tuesday because I get to see your face.
That's not what you said before we started, but I'll take it. I'll take it. Nice try. Nice try.
If I can't see my BFF Emmett, then I guess I'll settle for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the story of my life between my wife and kids. Let's be honest. Most people are not eager to see me, but I'm good with that.
Yeah, it's fine.
So, we first of all, thanks anybody that's watching. Welcome to Caffeinated Q&A. This is a True Talk Tuesday where we talk about some tips and tricks that we use to market better and communicate better for our clients, for ourselves, all that good stuff. So, but since this is Caffeinated Q&A, we also always talk about our tea and our coffee. I'm going to go first this week, Sean, because I'm excited.
Okay.
I ordered some coffee that was recommended by my friend Max Weber, and it came, and it is delicious. So this is some Black Rifle Silencer Smooth coffee, and it is absolutely fantastic. So maybe my favorite coffee that I've ever had, legit. Super smooth, super fantastic. Goes great with my half a cup of coconut cream creamer. So it is, it's absolutely fantastic.
How is your coffee flavored creamer?
What's that?
You like coffee flavored creamer?
Yes, exactly. So it flavors my creamer nicely.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, absolutely fantastic. Seriously, it's a little bit pricey, but here's what can I tell you what I respect about coffee? So this net weight, 12 ounces, right? So a little fun fact about coffee, what coffee manufacturers started doing a couple years ago is if you go to the store and you look, the same exact size bag sometimes will be 11 ounces because they figured out if they put it in the same bag, we're not smart enough to read the label and we'll pay the same price for an 11-ounce bag of coffee as long as the bag is the same size. So when I get a bag of coffee and it's actually 12 ounces, they get bonus points. That's just me.
Fast fact. I mean, I don't drink coffee, but I did not know that.
Check it out next time you're at the store.
I probably won't. Just being honest.
All right, fair enough.
Josh, sleep. Apparently, I'm in the mood this morning.
I should have known.
You are welcome.
All right, what you got?
I'm boring again. I have some chai tea. It's my favorite. I don't stray much.
I'm ordering you some tea. I'm going to order you some tea.
Okay. Surprise me.
Okay.
All
right.
I don't know if I should say that, but yeah, go for it. Surprise me.
All right. So if you guys are drinking anything fun, feel free. Oh, Chris's favorite is the Just Black Rifle. So listen, can we talk about how Black Rifle is crushing it on their just marketing in general? But my wife posted a picture of our Black Rifle coffee, and the guy that started the company comments on it like an hour later or something like that. So like, I'm sure that guy has a lot going on, but he realizes the value of showing customer appreciation, right? And so even a company like Black Rifle that is doing really well, the owner of the company is reaching out and commenting on social media posts saying, you know, and the reason I remember that is because he said that he's a Just Black kind of guy. So he's drinking Just Black as well. So great example of how to crush it on social media, regardless of the size of the business. So cool. Yeah. So if anybody is drinking anything else fun, let us know. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about kind of the structure that we use for marketing campaigns. So it's going to be, I hope this isn't a dry topic. I'll try to make it fun, but to me, this is one of the most critical points that businesses are missing. Everybody's just, you know, we talk a lot about posting and how you should post a lot. And if you really care about the thing that you're doing, you have to let people know about it. And there's a lot of value in doing that and just, you know, doing it, you know, off the cuff. But if you're really serious and you're building a business, having structured campaigns is absolutely critical. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we structure campaigns, but first, let me talk about what we mean when we say campaign, okay? So when we're talking about marketing anything, we think of everything as a campaign. So if you have a new product coming out, that's a campaign. You'll have a very specific objective over a very specific timeline. And ideally, you have measurable points along the way. So, again, think of it as a road trip. If you're going on vacation, you have an end goal in mind and you have a timeline that you would like to have to get there. That's how we think of our campaigns. And so it's nice to think about it like that, but how do you actually structure it? So I'm going to do something we haven't done yet. I'm going to share some slides here because I got some feedback that some of you are taking notes, which I really appreciate. And for a topic like this, I thought it might be helpful for you guys to have something to look at. So
I feel like we need a laugh track where, how people like in TV shows will be like, ooh, like that would have been the perfect moment for that. So I'll just add my own commentary to it.
Yeah, if you have time to do that for next week, that would be fantastic.
All right,
Thanks,
I'll get a laugh track. Every time I say anything, I'll just hit the button.
You would.
Sorry, continue.
Okay, so we came up with this idea of the Ghost Creative Marketing Pyramid. And here's where it really came from. So there's 5 pieces here. And what we found most often happens in our business is people come to us and they want us to solve the problem that's at the top of the pyramid. So they want us to implement a tactic for them. So they come and they say, will you run Facebook ads for us? And it's like, well, yeah, sure, we can run Facebook ads. But the problem is you're starting at the top of the pyramid. You're starting with what I consider to be the easy part is running a Facebook ad. What you really need to do is drill down in and figure out why in the world are you trying to run a Facebook ad in the first place? And how do you structure a campaign so that when you're spending money on that Facebook ad, you're actually getting a lot of value for the money that you spend. So we're going to start at the bottom of this. And we start with objective. It makes sense, right? Like you have a much higher likelihood of hitting the target when that target is clear. So the objective is, what are you trying to do? If you're running a Facebook campaign, if you want us to run a Facebook ad for you, what are you actually hoping to achieve? If all goes well, in a perfect world, we run this campaign for you and it's perfect, what is the end result? If you can't define that, don't spend a dime on Facebook ads. If you don't know where you're going on vacation, don't get in the car, right? This is what we're trying to get people to think about is if you are going to run a Facebook ad, you better know what you're trying to achieve with that Facebook ad. And if you don't know, slow down, figure out what you're trying to do, okay? Once you have your objective, then we talk about constraints. So constraints are really like how this is the box that you're painting around your objective. So we want to do this thing, but we have to do it with these limitations, with these constraints. So the most common ones are budget and time. So if you have a new product launch and you say the product is launching in 3 months, well, one of your constraints is your launch campaign can't take more than 3 months, right? And so really thinking hard about what are the constraints. Maybe you have to create your own content because your budget doesn't allow you to pay someone to create content. So one of your constraints is we have to be able to create content that I can do, right? Maybe one of your constraints is we only have $100 a month to spend on this thing, or we only have $1,000 a month to spend on this thing. But knowing what that budget is, knowing what those constraints are, will then help you define the campaign, because you're not going to define some campaign that then you look back and you say, that's great, but we can't afford that, or we can't implement that. The next step is target market. And this is probably the hardest step in the process and therefore the most overlooked. And target market is really about who are you trying to reach? And the answer we get is everyone. And that is the wrong answer. And when you say you're trying to reach everyone, what it means is you actually don't know who your target market is. Because to reach everyone, it's going to cost you $1 billion. And if you have $1 billion, reach everyone. If you don't, refine your target market. And so Sean has talked about this before, but when we think of target market, we think of the smallest possible market that can help you reach your objective. So the smaller the target market, the better off you are. Okay. And that's counterintuitive and it's not how people do it. But when you start creating these campaigns with a very targeted audience, you can really, moving on to the next step, create messaging that is specifically for them. Okay, so you guys may have heard me say this before, but when I see an ad that says, are you a 41-year-old male living in Erie, Pennsylvania with 4 kids? And I'm like, That's me. Well, of course it's me. They knew that when they designed the campaign and they made the messaging specifically for me, right? So the idea is, if you don't know who your target market is, if you have a very broad target market, your messaging becomes very bland and nobody cares about it, right? So messaging is really wording specific to your target market. And then we get to the tip of the pyramid where everyone wants to start. And this is tactics. So now you have your objective, you have your constraints, you have your target market, you have your messaging. What do you do with that? Where do you go? Do you go to Facebook? Do you use paid ads? Do you go to Instagram? Do you go to LinkedIn? Do you run an ad in the newspaper? And so most people are getting sold on tactics, right? The newspaper calls you and says, you should buy an ad in the newspaper. They're selling you a tactic, right? And they're selling you a tactic without knowing what your objective is. So how can I tell you, you need to buy this product from me when I have no idea what your objective is, who your target market is, what the message is to them? So this is one of my pet peeves with other agencies, and what we try really hard not to do is, I don't ever want to sell you a tactic without understanding what you're trying to do, because what that is doing is I'm selling you a product that I don't know is the best for you, okay? And so we really try hard when we work with clients to figure out all these other things, so that when we're telling you this is the best tactic for you, that we actually know that. We're not just saying it because it's the only thing we have to offer, okay? So let's look at an example, and maybe it'll be more clear. And feel free to ask questions, throw them in the chat if you have questions about this, but hopefully this example will make it more clear.
Excuse me.
I'm going to use the objective of, this is the example of something that we did. So one of our goals, one of our objectives was to provide more value for the local business community over the next 3 months. And this really started with the whole coronavirus thing, and how do we dig deeper with the local business community so that we can provide more value during uncertainty. So that was our objective. And so the constraints we had were, we didn't want to spend more than $100 a month. I didn't include the over the next 3 months because that was really a loose constraint. We kind of put that as an objective, but that was kind of a loose constraint. If it went on longer than that, we don't know how long this is going to go on, so we're willing to extend it. So it's not a true constraint. But we knew we didn't have a large budget for this. But two, we wanted to use creativity instead of just money, because sometimes those things are opposites. So then we said, okay, well, who is this for? So our target market is 25 to 50-year-old business owners, marketing managers, executive directors, and other marketing decision makers. So really 25 to 50, we picked that age range, and we said really people that are making decisions about marketing, right? So business owners make their own decisions about marketing. Executive directors, we found, do that. Marketing managers do that. So that's the target we were digging after. And then the messaging was, first and foremost, we're here to serve. But then there's some underlying messages like and you guys, if you've listened to the show, you've heard us talk about it. You have to innovate. This is a time where we have to innovate. You have to have more empathy for the people that are going to be buying your products and services. Now's the time to dig in, right? Like it's going to be easy to quit. But if you're really passionate about what you're doing, dig in and build brand first, which I'm sure you're tired of hearing us say. I hope you are. So that was really the messaging, is however we do this, we want to make sure we use that messaging over and over and over again. And so the tactic that we landed on was this, the Facebook Live Q&A. And we also want to be posting more, so posting 3 times a day across multiple platforms. So really, this is an example of how we got to the Q&A. We didn't start by saying, we want to have a Facebook Live show. We started by saying, what are we actually trying to achieve? Who is our target market? What is the messaging? What are the constraints we have? And then we had a list of a bunch of options. We landed on a live Q&A show. So I hope that gives you a little bit of flavor of how we go about creating these campaigns. And again, the way we do it is everything is a campaign. So if you come to us and you say, we have a new service that we're offering, we structure it as a campaign so that we know that we're designing things to help you meet your objective.
So I'm going to add a little bit of clarity to that.
Sure.
I think anytime there's a new objective, that's how we define campaigns. So like if your objective is, a lot of times people are like, oh, I know I need to run Facebook ads. And we through talking to them are like, yeah, you actually have 3 different objectives you're trying to achieve here. We structure those as 3 different campaigns. It's just easier because then you can boil it down to this objective was successful or not. this other objective was not successful. That's just, it's easier to evaluate success when there's just one objective driving a campaign. Now, another thing I think is important to distinguish here is one objective can have multiple target markets. So the reason we work through the pyramid that way is we start with one objective, but that one objective could have multiple layers to it. So, you know, trying to get people to convert better on a website, you can do that differently for 18 to 25-year-olds and, you know, 30 to 50-year-olds. And so under the same objective, you have different target markets because different messaging to those target markets. I think that's something that people kind of get lost in sometimes.
Yeah. And I feel like most people, Sean, really are just not digging deep into that stuff because it again, I believe thinking is one of the most difficult tasks that we can do. So we avoid it, right? Because it doesn't seem like work. I sit down and I'm like, what is our actual objective? And that can be a hard problem to solve. And so people just bypass it because it doesn't seem like work. And they say, I'm just going to go run a Facebook ad because running a Facebook ad seems like work and it seems like valuable work. So you just go do it. But that thinking is actually the hard work.
And in fairness, objectives is like some place where you and I don't want to use the word disagree a lot, but you and I wrestle over objectives quite frequently. And so it's a lot of times really hard to bring clarity to what an objective looks like. I don't know. Do we want to talk about that right now?
Yeah, we can. I mean, so objectives, because that we set that as the foundational, the foundation of the pyramid is setting objectives. And Sean brings up a good point. Even internally, we don't always agree on how you define that objective, right? In fact, we most often disagree on how you define that objective. So the example that I used, I said, you know, we want to add more value to the local business community, right? So to me, I'm like, okay, that's a very qualitative, right? Like it's I want to add value, and the way I'm going to be able to measure that, I use measure loosely, is by getting feedback from the people that are showing up, looking at comments, reaching out to people that are showing up consistently and getting their feedback on it. And for me, if I add value to one person through the show, I consider it a success, right? But Sean, I think, you know, you can elaborate, but you think about those objectives differently than that.
Yeah, so I'm always pushing things towards a more quantitative perspective. You know, when you say I want to provide value, my first question is, how will you know you've achieved that? And it's not that the measurement needs to be crazy quantitative, but just even defining like feedback from one person that says I'm getting value is reason enough to do this. Great, then that's how we know we've accomplished this objective. But yeah, you and I struggle a lot with, not struggle, but we wrestle a lot with. I'm very like typically quantitative. This is very, very articulated how we know we're going to achieve this objective, where you tend to lean more towards like ideological, like big picture,
right?
kind of thing. And so I say kind of steered the conversation in this direction to say like objectives, while tough, can look, you know, a bunch of different ways. And so I think another trap is to get caught too much in the objective. Define the objective and move on. If you have to come back and tailor it later, great, but don't get so caught up in like thinking of the objective or any part of it that you don't actually do anything.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And again, using the vacation analogy, it's the same, right? Where some people set an objective as we're going to Miami and we have the hotel picked out. That's good, right? And some people define it as we're going to check into the hotel at 8 a.m. and we're having breakfast then at 8:30 and we're doing, you know, we're going here. Like it's a matter of that detail and it's what works for you. Sean made a really good point, like create the objective and move on. And if it's a bad objective, you'll find out, right? Like these things, the nice thing about this framework is the problems work themselves out because it either works or it doesn't. And, you know, we didn't dive into it because we don't have a ton of time, but we have an entire review process where you go through and you look at this. If the campaign does or doesn't work, it doesn't matter. You evaluate what pieces of it seem to add strength to it and what pieces of it were too weak for it to really be effective.
Yeah. So now let's dive it. We get some questions pretty frequently with this. And so I think there's some like good content here. How long should marketing campaigns be?
Yeah. So this is a good question. Longer than you think they should be.
Yeah.
I think is the answer that we usually give clients. So clients will come to us and they'll say, we have a new product and it's launching in 3 weeks. We're like, that's cool. Contact us 3 months ago. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's really what we run into is people think that marketing is the safety net. Right. So like, I have this new product launching. I did pre-sales. I'm not getting enough sales. Therefore, I want to pay for marketing to boost my sales. If you're not getting enough sales in your pre-sales, you already messed up your marketing, because the right way to do it was to market it for 3 months prior to trying to sell anything. Mm-hmm. Right. And this is where people get it completely backwards. And so marketing is not the safety net. Marketing is the gas for the engine that makes this thing go. So how long should it be? Longer than you think it should be. And the rule of thumb we use for just as a very general, and it's, it's going to be product specific and price specific and all those things, but you should be starting every marketing campaign 3 months prior to when you actually want to see results. If you're not starting it 3 months ahead of time, you probably didn't leave enough time.
Well, and there's so many layers to this conversation, but one of them being how much brand marketing you've invested into your organization, your company, your business, leading up to whatever you're trying to do. And so it takes, like Nike, because they invest immensely in brand marketing, they don't have to, they can get away with a 2-week turnaround on a marketing campaign because you already know Nike, you know what they stand for, you know their products are legit. But somebody you've never heard of before, you have to invest a significant more in a very direct marketing context because you have no brand.
Right.
And so there's just so many layers to like how much time a marketing campaign should be. That's why we always push people to invest ongoing time, money, resourcing into brand marketing. That way, when you get to a marketing campaign, a direct marketing campaign, you can get away with a little bit more.
Right. I mean, if you look at even companies like Apple, right? Like anybody that follows Apple closely, they're announcing the event where they're going to announce the product months ahead of time. And then a lot of times when they announce the product still isn't available for sale yet.
Yeah.
So months ahead of time, they start promoting that they're going to have an event where they're going to release the product. Then they release the product and then you still can't buy it. So they're months ahead, even with the brand as strong as it is, right? And that's a great comment. Diane, right? Like with a movie trailer. There you go. So like when you go to a movie, they're showing, when we're allowed to go to movies again, they're showing you a trailer for a movie that's coming out in 9 months. Right. So that means that their product is going to be ready to go and they have promotional material 9 months ahead of time. How many of you have started talking about a product 9 months before you were able to sell it? Right. Because that's what they're doing. They're not pre-selling tickets. They're talking about a product 9 months before you can even give them money for it. Right. They have it figured out. Small business owners mostly do not, where the day they start talking about a product, they're telling you to go buy it. Right. Unless you're really good at sales, that's not a great idea. Right. If you're good at sales, do it. But that is not good marketing. That's good. It could be good sales. It's not good marketing.
And in that, people are probably like, well, how do I run you're talking about a 9-month campaign for a product that isn't even launched yet. You're not doing like, this product is going to cost. No. You're doing like things that create tension around the product. So what is the need that you're trying to meet? Then you do marketing around like, why is this need so like desperate to have a solution for? Why, questions like that. That's the marketing that you do. Why is this something that you need in your life? Answer those kinds of questions in the marketing leading up to. That way, when the solution gets there, the product, the service, the whatever, it's a very natural, okay, we're here, go buy it.
Right. Yep. So everybody's quiet today. We don't have a lot of questions, that's okay.
Yeah, so I think this is also a good question. We have questions. We'll keep asking stuff, right? Where do you see people struggle or get caught in the process? When we interact with clients, like where's the big hiccup?
Yeah. So two things. First and foremost, what I already talked about, they start at tactics. So they're starting at the top and they're saying, I need to run a Facebook ad. If you don't have the other 4 blocks of your pyramid filled out and you're running a Facebook ad, you may get lucky and that Facebook ad may work. First of all, I don't even know how you're going to define it if you don't know what your objective is, but it's like playing the lotto, right? Like I don't play the lottery because I have a very slim chance of winning. The same is true if you start at the top of the pyramid. You have a very slim chance of winning with your ads if you start at the top of the pyramid. And the same is true, and I'm not picking on them, but the same is true for a newspaper ad. If you bought a newspaper ad because the newspaper guy called you and told you to buy a newspaper ad, and you don't have the other 4 blocks of that pyramid figured out, then you're just taking a chance. You're rolling the dice. You're gambling, right? So that's the biggest thing, is starting at the top of the pyramid. The other thing is getting confused on brand and direct marketing. So Sean said earlier that like when we do these campaigns, it's one objective. Here's what you cannot have, and here's what does not work well, and people try to do it consistently, constantly. You can't have a campaign that is both a brand campaign and a direct marketing campaign because the objectives are different, right? The objective for a direct marketing campaign is some sort of conversion. I want you to do something. The objective for a brand campaign is to build brand equity, to build brand value, so people think about you in higher regard so that they trust you more. Yeah. Those two things are opposites because I can't get you to trust me more by telling you to give me money. Those are two opposites. So when this same exact pyramid, the same exact structure works for brand campaigns and for direct marketing campaigns, but your objective has to be one or the other. And when you start to mix them, you get these really muddled, confusing, ineffective campaigns when you're trying to mix brand campaigns and direct marketing campaigns.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting when someone comes to us and is like, I know, can you run Facebook ads for me? People aren't buying my product. And they automatically think Facebook is the solution. Well, the problem could be any number of things. It could be a conversion problem on their website. They just need something on their website fixed. They have enough traffic, they just aren't converting on the website. So let's fix the website. That's the tactic.
Yeah.
And so that's why you absolutely have to start with, I want to convert more sales. That's the objective. Okay, well, Facebook ads isn't going to help you do that because you have enough traffic already. We go and we fix the website, or any number of things. And so it's sometimes a difficult conversation up front to be like, well, maybe you don't actually need Facebook, but at the same time, we aren't going to take your money if we know for a fact that adding Facebook isn't going to help you at all.
Yep. Yes. Exactly. A lot of people will.
Well, yeah. So good question from Max here. What are some best strategies for referral marketing to generate signups and create viral loops?
Yeah. I feel like Max is asking a question that he's better suited to answer than I am. Max is just, if anybody doesn't know Max, he's really good at this stuff. So referral marketing is a fantastic way, especially in the social world, to get the word out, to get more reach. Contests and giveaways are a fantastic way to do referral marketing, to generate viral loops, where you say, share this post, tag someone, that person in turn sees like, oh my gosh, this is a giveaway. And if I tag someone or I share this post, then I get entered as well. So it's one of my favorite ways to do it, is just creating a giveaway where the way you get entered into the giveaway is to share the post and tag someone, because then everyone you share and tag then has the opportunity to do the same, and you can potentially create viral loops out of that. The other thing that is really interesting and nuanced about that is, if I'm interested in a product, like if I'm an Apple person, it's likely that I know, if I'm a rabid fan of Apple, it's likely that I know my friends who are also rabid fans of Apple. So therefore, it's kind of like word of mouth as well, where I can say, when I'm tagging, if I know Sean is an Apple fanboy as well, I can tag Sean because I already know that about him. I'm not tagging someone random. I'm tagging someone that I know is interested in the thing that's being given away. And likewise, Sean probably knows someone as well, right? So again, these work so much better if you have brand awareness, because I will know if Sean uses Apple, right? I will know that about him. I don't know what kind of iPhone case he uses because none of the case manufacturers have built brand around it, right? So I don't know what kind of case he uses, but I know what kind of phone he uses. And so again, all of these come back to when you have a stronger brand, they become much easier to do. But I think, giveaways where you get entered by tagging and sharing is a simple way to start referral marketing.
Yeah, that's good.
Cool. Good question.
All right. Well,
anything else?
Yeah, no, I think we're kind of at the end, unless you have any kind of last thoughts.
No, I think we're good. I mean, guys, the theme that you're seeing in this, and I'm going to harp on it until you guys consistently do it or you stop watching, one or the other is going to happen. Creating brand content, right? Creating a campaign that says, what I want to do is build more awareness about what I believe in, right? Again, Sean would frown at that objective. But if I have an objective where I say, I want to build more awareness in Erie, Pennsylvania, so that people in Erie know what Ghost Creative stands for and believes in. That's my objective. And now my messaging has to be about what I believe in, not about what I sell, right? So by setting those objectives, those brand objectives properly, you can create these campaigns and really, really create some really solid content to build your brand, which is going to serve you so well in the long run. And again, with things being uncertain now, I know everybody's thinking about tomorrow. The brands that are able to get through this by, generating income, but still thinking about a year from now, you guys are the ones that are going to win, because this brand awareness stuff it really gets left behind when things get tight like they are now. So
Max wants to know how the silencer smooth is.
It is. I said earlier, I think this may be my favorite coffee that I've ever had. That's the truth.
I told him that you really didn't know because all you can taste is creamer.
Well, it flavors my creamer well, so it's good. Yeah, it's good. I really like it. Thank you for the recommendation. I'm definitely going to be trying some more of their stuff. So cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. I hope this was helpful. We'll send out the notes that we put together in the email. If you need help creating these campaigns, reach out to us. Okay, we'd be more than happy to walk you through this. I know it can be difficult the first time, and so people just avoid it, right? That's what we do. Things get difficult, we avoid it. I want you guys to dig in on this stuff. I promise, if you use this framework and you really start structuring things like this, your business is you're going to see a difference from it. You're going to see better outcomes. You're going to see more effective results. So please dig into it. Please reach out to us. Go to ghostcreative.com/live, sign up for the email. The resources will be there. And again, we say it, but we actually mean it. Reach out to us and let us know if you have questions. We'd be more than happy to help you with this stuff. So I hope you guys have a great day. Happy Tuesday. Get yourself some Silencer Smooth Black Rifle coffee. Try it out. Let me know what you think. And we will see you guys on Friday at 9 a.m. Thanks, guys. We'll see you then.
Thanks, everyone.